We're ready.
All right. Okay. All right. So it is now 6:35, and I am calling our work session to order. It was 6:35 already. All right. All right. And welcome, everyone. Okay. So right now we have statements from the public. Tracy, are you ready?
I'm here, yep, and it looks like you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, great. The first and only speaker tonight is Katie Mcgee, and I'm letting her in now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hi, Katie. Can you hear us? You're muted right now.
Hi, good evening. I can hear you.
All right, good evening. We are ready when you are.
Thanks. I come to tonight's meeting with several questions. One is, could someone give parents and community members an update on the playground at Bailey? As far as I know from my daughter, it hasn't been, the work on it hasn't started, the construction. And I think it was supposed to already, so just want to know what the update is on that. Second question, from the agenda tonight, I see there's a mentor coordinator and a long list of mentors up for approval. I'd just like to have a little recap about what that is. Is that mentors for teachers? And just a little update on what that means so the public knows what you're voting on. And same with the PLC lead teachers and the team leaders. I'd like to know what the difference is and a little bit about that. And then I see that there's going to be summer enrichment for ECP. I'm not sure if that means children that just finished ECP or are entering ECP. And I'm curious where they will be located this summer.
Okay.
Oh, one other thing. Still important. I think at the last meeting, you said the board hoped to discuss what they're going to do about an interim superintendent or that gap after Dr. Chase leaves and before Dr. Iverson starts. So I'd like an update on that, whether you've made a decision or when you're making that decision.
So I can say we don't have an update on that now, and we'll inform the public as soon as we begin to talk and make a decision. Dr. Chase, I think the rest of these are for you or Dr. Reynolds.
Sure, I will start. Thank you, Madam President. I will start, and then Dr. Reynolds, you can fill in the gap as you typically do. Fair enough? All righty. So I'm going to leave the Bailey Playground for Ms. Raymond to just provide an update. She's best to do that. How are you doing, Ms. Mcgee? It's good to see you. And so as you know, every year when we hire new teachers, we make sure that our teachers have a strong foundation the first year at Greenburgh Central School District. And I'm glad that that mindset will continue in the next year. And so we'd like to provide each teacher with a mentor teacher, an experienced teacher who has been in the district, to partner with them for 1 year. And this mentor will be that sounding board, that person they go to get acclimated to the district. And so we assign every new person who enters the school district as a teacher, a mentor. For our PLCs, as you know, about 6 years ago, we brought the professional learning communities concept to Greenburgh Central School District. It was widely accepted, and it has definitely yielded great results for our students. As per our New York State ELA scores and our iReady scores, it gives teachers an opportunity to meet together on a grade level to talk about student data, to talk about student work They answer 4 questions. What do we want students to know and be able to do? How do we know they've learned it? What do we do if they haven't learned it? So forth and so on. And the conversations are around those questions. I am happy to see that the district will continue the PLC model as indicated in this agenda item. And so for each team, there is a PLC leader. That leader works in concert with the principal to look at student data, to be the liaison, if you will, between their PLC group and the principal to ask questions and to answer questions, all relevant to student data, because you know we are data driven. I'm going to ask if first Ms. Raymond can just answer the question about the Bailey Playground, and then I'm going to just pass it on to Dr. Reynolds to answer the question, anything that I may have left off, and also to answer the question about the ECP summer program.
Thank you, Dr. Chase. As you know, Highview Playground was completed first, and then LF Jackson just completed, and they had the ribbon cutting ceremony. And Mike Falcone and I have met, and RJ Bailey will start this month, and it should be completed by the end of this month. We are battling the weather and the rain and the soft ground, and he is in constant contact with the people, and it definitely will be started this month and completed this month.
David?
I had last I talked to him, it's been over a week, was 6/14 was supposed to be the start date. I don't know if that's changed. Not the finish date, the start date.
Well, that was the intended start date, but we have been pushing to get it started sooner,
Okay.
so that it could get completed and that the children could use it. So we are pushing for a sooner start date, but the latest start date will be June 14th.
Okay, thanks.
And
Right.
I'd like to thank Dr. Chase for that initial answer. And as usual, she's answered everything in relation to the mentors in the PLC. There's nothing more that I can add to that, Ms. McGee. But in a response to your question about the ECP, that program is designed for our current students in ECP transitioning into kindergarten. And we're looking to offer an opportunity for students to have social, SEL, and as well as math and ELA type of instruction over the summer. And that will be offered to anywhere up to 60 students. So it's approximately 47% of our student population at ECP currently.
Okay. Let me see. So
May I just ask where it's going to be held?
I please forgive me, I did leave that part out. That is going to be held over at Highview School.
okay, thank you, Ms. Raymond, Dr. Reynolds, and Dr. Chase for responding to the questions. Thank you, Katie, for your questions.
And Antoinette, that's it for public speakers.
Yep.
For the
Okay, next we have our policy review. Okay.
Is anyone there?
Yes,
Hello? Oh, what's happening?
we're at policy review. I guess everybody's busily looking at their online versions of the policy, the proposed policies. I've got one question on 7410. I don't know what other people have on other policies in that list.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so the first one that we have up is 1330, appointments and designations by the Board of Education.
Antoinette,
Yes, Tanya.
I'm sorry. I'm actually unable to start my video, so I might have to leave the meeting and come back in.
All right, you're gonna do that now?
Yes, I am. So when you see me back in the waiting room, please let me in.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Problem. All right, so right now, everybody, we are on 1330. Like to try to wait a little bit, but it,
Ashley's hand is raised, Antoinette, in case you don't see it.
Ashley, thank you.
Thank you. Just clarifying, I don't see policy number 5676 in the list.
It's on the well, on board docs, it's the second one.
I see 5672, and then I see from there it goes to 7260.
I don't even see the four that I see when I'm, let me see.
It's 1330, 5676, which is replacing 7243,
Yep,
6480, and 7410.
yeah, that's what I see too.
So hold on, let me check my link. Maybe I have the wrong link open. Hold on.
No
And
problem.
1330 has your change in it.
Yes.
And your addition of the one new item, and then 5676 has a like a STEM sentence that we need to complete in terms of like how, who gets to be the person in charge of being a data protection officer. And then,
Yeah, exactly.
the two things are kind of linked to each other.
Yeah,
Are you able to go in through the agenda, maybe?
Yeah, I was clicking the one in the agenda. Let me
Okay.
find the other one.
so you're in board docs?
Yeah, the one in the agenda links me to board docs, and then I had that list, but it looks like the wrong one. So let me find the one you guys are looking at.
Was opening the wrong way.
Okay,
Mr. Pineda, if you go to the policy review on the agenda, the link is there. So it'll get you to the right spot on the page.
Okay, thank you.
all right. So again, any questions about 1330?
1330 looks good to me.
Okay. All right, let's go to 5676. And it's replacing 7243. It looks like the last level went to administrative review, no additional revisions. Attorney review, a minor update to comport with the current regulations.
It's pages and pages of material, and it all looks fine to me, with the exception of the fact that there's something I think On the new version they give, I think it might be the second page in, there's like a little asterisk. And it'll say needs to be changed to correspond to how your district wants it, right? Let me see if I can find that. They have the definitions of protect. You're trying to protect data, right? You're trying to protect data for the students, personally identifiable data, and you're trying to protect APPR data for both teachers and principals. And you have a whole series of things that you do to do that, and you have people in charge of it, and you have a process for requesting data if you're a parent, and you have a process of reporting a data breach, and there's somebody at the state level who has to know about the data breach, and all of this material has been kind of consolidated into one spot. And the one thing that we have to have that we just put into 1310 was a data protection officer. And I'm trying to see if there was a spot in this policy in 5676 where it talked about the data protection officer. See, chief privacy officer, data protection officer. Here we go. Data protection officer, great. The pages are no longer numbered. Look, if you look for the words customized to district, and there's a subheading on data protection officer. Let me see how many pages in it is. Wait, there. Page 4 of 14 describes the chief privacy officer and the data protection officer. And under data protection officer, it says, the district has designated a district employee to serve as the district's data protection officer. The data protection officer for the district is : and then there should be something there.
So are you saying you want someone to be there, like just consistently a position, or?
I would, yes, and we would just put that in 1310. That's the one item we put in 1310 for our annual appointment. So I would change the sentence. The data protection officer for the district is appointed at our annual meeting, right? Our annual, right? And that's it. That's all I would do.
I would agree with that.
Yep. All right.
And you know, it might turn out that it's the CIO. It might be somebody else, but the administration can decide that.
Yeah, whoever's assigned.
All right. Anybody has any other questions? Dr. Chase, I'm sorry. I thought I saw you. You might have been muted. I thought I saw you talking. Did you want to weigh in?
No, I have no comments at this time, but thanks for acknowledging me.
Okay, no problem. All right. So hearing and seeing no hands or questions. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. And that is 6480, staff use of district owned vehicles. Okay, see, looks like on 520, the policy was drafted by administration and reviewed by attorney Erie Bosse's. Erie 1 Bosse's does not have a sample. So Dr. Chase, I do have questions about this one. So I'm assuming that this is a brand new one. And I guess what was the, I guess the architect of building this policy?
Sure. So we've included some information, and I believe it was our last board packet, or maybe the one before, about this particular policy, and we gave some commentary about it too, but I think it's important that the community hears what was shared with the board. So I'm going to defer to Lisa Raymond, our Assistant Superintendent for Business, because she worked very, very closely with this. Ms. Raymond, can you provide some insight, please?
Certainly. Thank you, Dr. Chase.
My
So
pleasure.
during our internal audit, John Tobin and Associates recommended that we have a vehicle use policy. So I reached out to Ivy, who reached out to our policy people, and they didn't have anything, but they gave us some recommendations, gave me some sample policies. I put one together. I sent it to Carol, who graciously mocked it up and made it policy worthy. And we created it so that we could be in compliance with our internal audit. You have to know that SCD requires that we respond to all of our write-ups from our internal audit, which you approved at the last meeting. And part of that was that we would have this policy in place and that we would approve it for future use. So basically what this policy is saying, that any vehicle that Greenberg has on its campus will follow these guidelines. We will administer that in my office to track the logs, the GPS, if we choose to put that in place, so that we know where our vehicles are, who is using our vehicles, that they are licensed properly to use those vehicles, make sure that there's nothing on their licenses, etc. Anything like that.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions about the staff use of district-owned vehicles? David, I saw your
I
hand.
just have a typo. Under repairs and maintenance, almost at the very end of the policy, it says when a vehicle is due or routine maintenance, it should be for routine maintenance. Under repairs and maintenance, it's when a vehicle is due for routine maintenance. That's it.
Thank you, David.
All right. Ashley?
I thought Tracy had her hand. Okay.
I think Tracy had a hand up first.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I did, but it's okay.
Tracy?
I was just going to ask, and you might not have this answer. Oh, you moved, your box moved. You might not have this answer right now, but do you know how many vehicles we actually own or use?
I do have that in the office because we just did our insurance update. I can get that for you. I would say it's between 6 and 8 vehicles.
Okay,
and that
awesome.
ranges from trucks, dump trucks, excavators, gators, those kind of things, golf carts, those kind of, but I can get that for you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Okay, let me see. Ashley and Miss Carey, I believe you have a question too.
Tracy asked what I was going to ask, so I'm good.
Okay, Miss Carey.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that this particular document will be for all of the all of the staff, and no one will be exempt from that.
That's correct, Ms. Carey. No one will be exempt from it. Anybody who will use any of our vehicles will have to provide their license and a background check to make sure that they are fully licensed and able to operate a vehicle on behalf of the Greenberg School District.
Okay, what about personal use and taking vehicles home?
No, that if you read the policy, that specifically states in there that no vehicle can be used for personal use, and that is one of the reasons why Mr. Tobin recommended that we put GPS tracking on our vehicles, so that the business office specifically, I think it states myself, that I can log into the GPS system and see where our vehicles are at all times and where they have been.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure that it's heard not only by us, but by the community and the staff too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and let me see. Did anyone else have any questions? Okay. All right. No. Now we are up to 7410 extracurricular activities. Were there any questions about David?
Sure. So this was the one that I was concerned about last time. There's a mismatch between extracurricular activities and extra classroom activities, and that's because extra classroom activities is the name of the like funds, right? So
Yeah.
you've got the policy that says extracurricular, and then they open up with an extra classroom. So that was a little weird, but I don't think, I can't think of a better solution, so I'm gonna leave that alone. So then that leaves the other thing that I was concerned about was on the first page, if I go down a couple of headings, it goes censorship of school-sponsored student publications and activities. The district may exercise editorial control over the style and content of student speech in school-sponsored publications and activities that are part of the educational curriculum. And I did look in school law, and sure enough, we do have the power to apply censorship to the equivalent of a school newspaper. So I understand the school-sponsored publications piece. My question is, what do they mean by school-sponsored activities? How do you exercise control over school-sponsored activities? What? Tracy's muted.
Well, I was thinking back to some other news sources for some of our other boards that maybe have dealt with something like this, where there may be an activity, maybe some sort of a protest or something that I guess technically we could say no to, or we could ban, for lack of a better term. So I guess that's what they're saying, that legally we could do that. That's how I read it.
Dr. Chase, Dr. Reynolds, any, insight as far as, having an impact on student voice and all of that?
Well, I'm going to take a stab at the dark, and just from a superintendent's perspective, when you talk about student voice and it becomes dangerous to the organization, or it becomes a threat to the organization, there is an opportunity to intervene appropriately.
Okay, thank you. All right, so anyone
Sorry.
have any? Dr. Reynolds, go ahead.
Through Dr. Chase, Madam President, yes, the clarification and the key is school-sponsored. So we're not looking to stymie student voice, but when it comes to anything that has a school district moniker on it and its approval, we have the legal responsibility to ensure that it is firstly legal for it to take place, and secondly, it works within the parameters of what a school district would be able to support by its own policy.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's as horrible as I was afraid it was going to be. All right, thank you.
All right, Tracy.
Oh, I was going to ask you, but I heard you just said it. You thought it would be worse. I was going to ask you what your concern was before we adopt it.
Oh,
Mr. Warner, I'm
the tradition in Greenberg has been that a big issue will come up. The students will, sometimes have a 5-minute protest at lunchtime or some such thing, and I don't want to stop that. Okay, I think that's free expression. I don't think that this requires us to stop that. So I'm okay.
Sorry. Okay, next are our committee reports. So if you can let me know if you have a committee report. I believe CEC has one. Does any other committees have? Okay. CEC.
My camera went off. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So I'm just getting the minutes out from our most recent CEC meeting on May 24th. And so pretty much we had a discussion about reopening of the schools. There's some anxiety around how school's going to reopen. I think members of the committee really were looking for the reopening groups to start up again. I think that was maybe mentioned a couple of meetings ago. And I guess people are looking to see if that's going to happen, or how we're going to reopen schools in September. Will kids all be in school? I know we reiterated that we have to rely on New York State Ed, of course, depending on what they say. Of course, that's what we have to defer to, but that also we will give an update in the summertime so that people are aware of what will happen. We updated the community on the budget vote and the Board of Ed trustee vote. We also looked at calendar planning for the committee through COVID. Some different ideas came up on what the committee could do, definitely for next year, because this year we met much less than we normally do, and we did things a little bit differently. We reviewed that Nettie Jackson Extra Mile Award that is coming up, that will be presented in, I guess, one of our June meetings. There were volunteers for the committee back in April. And so the committee, I even emailed them today to kind of re-go over the process, and they will meet and determine from the submissions who will be an award recipient for that. And that again will be presented in June. We talked about the fact that we do have a new superintendent coming. We spent some time talking about communications, and the website subcommittee talked a little bit about what their plans or suggestions were. We also saw a very rough draft of an updated website that one of our PR people and one of our tech people have been working on. They shared it with shared that with us. And there was kind of consensus that people want to hear directly from the Board of Ed. I know we started that this year with sending out updates and newsletters, and people want to continue to hear things directly from the Board of Ed as well. There were two strong recommendations for more immediate action. One is for the board to host a meet and greet with the community for the new superintendent coming in, Dr. Iverson. And the second was, it was also said a few meetings ago that someone would create a video tour of the school buildings. People have been asking, how are the school buildings updated with COVID? And in a meeting a few meetings ago, someone said that maybe a video tour could be provided to parents and the community members so that they can actually see the schools, maybe an updated video tour, because I feel like originally there was one, but maybe an updated one sooner than later so that people can see how kids have been going to schools. And then of course, again, when we open schools in September, so that people can see how the schools are going to be open for the students. So there were two kind of recommendations to that. I'm not sure how the board wants to handle that.
Okay. As far as the two of them, so the video, we're actually videoing twice currently to see how our schools look, and then also again in time for reopening of our schools, because usually we will have that walkthrough. Any thoughts, board members, if you have any?
I'm for it.
I agree with the committee.
Okay. Your silence, must say that it must be that you like the idea or not.
Is that something, I guess, really for the administration, is that something that technology can do right now? I know it's kind of the last month of school. You guys are probably pretty busy, but is it possible to give us an updated video of what has changed since, I guess, the last video back in, I think it was the turn of the new calendar year?
We respect the board's wishes, and we will devise a video for the community. I'll work with the technology department to put that together. Thank you.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
The other one was the recommendation of the meet and greet.
I would agree with that as well.
I'm on the committee. I agree. I agree with it as well. Anyone that has, say it again, David.
What a great idea. Yes, we should do that.
Thank you. Ashley?
I agree. Sooner the better.
Okay. Miss Carrie?
Yes, I think. Yes, I think it should happen.
Okay. Tanya?
I agree. I just want to tell you that my camera seems to have died, hopefully temporarily. So unfortunately, I'm just going to be a voice tonight.
Yeah, you usually don't see the camera with the X on it, so.
Yeah, there's something's going on, but I mean, I tried to Google it briefly, but I just don't want to waste any more time. So I'm just going to be
Okay,
imageless for tonight. Sorry about that.
no problem. Terry?
So you just want to get consensus on the video or on the CEC recommendation? Which is it?
Well, both of them. We talked about the video first, and then now we're moving on to the meet and greet.
Sure.
All right. Okay, thank you. Are there any other committee reports? All right, hearing none.
Antoinette, can I make a quick statement?
Sure.
So the Technology and Security Committee didn't get a chance, unfortunately, to meet during our last scheduled session due to some resource constraints. With that said, we'll be meeting again on June 10th. And after that, we will ratify our April 15th meeting minutes. And I hope that during our next board meeting, I'm able to present the April 15th meeting minutes so that everyone's kept apprised of what happened during those meetings. And the second thing is, Antoinette, do you want to cover the handbook manual piece during new business, or do you want to continue discussing it as part of committee?
Part of committee, because I think like we've kind of like talked about it here and there, so
Yep. Okay.
I don't feel like it's new anymore.
Exactly. That was my thought process as well. So colleagues, I submitted the draft of the new board member handbook a while back. We reviewed it already once. We did have our district clerk, Ivy, who was so kind to go through it and correct several things that were inaccurate. They've now been corrected. We did circulate that was put in the packet this past week. I am asking at this point that if everyone is in consensus agreement, that we move forward with submitting it to our attorneys so we can have them double check that nothing's improper with it. As I'd like to move that along, because it'd be great to have that available for the new board trustees joining us soon. So that's my request. I'm not sure if anyone is in agreement or disagreement with that.
I agree.
I agree.
Sure.
I agree.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Ms. Carey?
Yeah, I would like to know, would it be possible for that handbook to also maybe be available to any community members who would like to know exactly what the board does, what we're, confined to, and how we're supposed to, function as trustees?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. Ashley?
Yeah, so that was actually, Ms. Carey, thank you for bringing that up. A community member had also reached out with the same idea. I agree with it. I think I'd rather let it go through the attorneys, let us get everything ratified perfect. And then once we have it all buttoned up, I was going to propose that we put it on our website under the board section, right under our board page, and then everybody could be on the same page. That was my thought process.
And always please have a few available in hard copy so that those of us who are not, savvy with the internet and everything can also have it available to us.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Awesome. And I think just thinking about it, that should be on our website. And then we should have all the other associations that the board is linked to, whether it's NISBA, WestPub, anything that will provide additional information in regards to boards. All right. So it sounds like everybody's good to go with getting it sent to our attorneys for their review. Okay, thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
All right. So we're done with our committee reports. It is anticipated, Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss the employment history of particular persons being considered for board action this evening and at the next meeting to meet with the school attorney under attorney-client privilege?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. It is 7:19 and we are going into executive session. Thank you. It is 11:15. We're back into open session. Excuse me. Okay. All right, we're gonna go through ICB personnel. I am assuming that there are no questions about that. Also for, I'm sorry, section C. All right. Anyone for, I know sometimes we have budget code transfer questions. Okay. We will keep going.
Excuse me, Antoinette.
Terry, you had something for budget code?
I thought you said we were in section C. Did I hear that incorrectly? You're muted, Antoinette.
Instructional personnel.
I'm sorry. I said we finished B, and then I said we're in C. Are there any questions? I didn't hear anything. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just really late, but I didn't hear any questions.
I didn't have any. I'm just trying to find out where we are because you said C, and then all of a sudden I'm here.
I moved to I'm sorry, Terry. I moved to D. Like I went past C. Now we're for D for board action.
Okay.
All right, and then just that we usually have some questions on budget code transfers. Wanted to see if any of that was there. None? Okay. Then you'll see the upcoming meetings next. Are there any questions in regards to E, reviewing of the agenda? Okay. Any of the contracts? All right. And we are now, I'm gonna just keep going. Questions on those. We're at closing items now. Okay. Work session approvals. Oh, wow. Wait a second. I gotta go. Hold on.
Those items B1, B3, and B10. Do you have to worry about?
I'm sorry. All right. Okay, so work session approval. Is there a motion to approve the instructional personnel items except for B1, B3, B10 to be presented to, items presented to the board for approval this evening?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Okay, so we have C, non-instructional personnel items.
Ivy has her hand up.
Ivy?
You have to state, what are you doing with items B1, B3, and B10? Are they being removed or are they being tabled?
Oh, well, 1, 2, removed.
Is B10 being tabled?
Tabled means you'd bring it back on a future agenda. Removed is you're not considering it.
Okay, so B1 and B3. Yeah, B1 and B3
Are removed.
are being removed, and B10 is tabled. All right, so let me start this again. Okay.
Ivy has her hand up.
You made the motion for the instructional personnel item, so I can make a notation as to what you're doing with B1, B3, and B10.
Okay, so we don't have to do it again. All right, thank you, Ivy. All right, so going back to section C, non-instructional personnel. Is there a motion to approve the non-instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Section D, board action items. Is there a motion to approve the board act?
Are you gonna take out D1?
For separate vote.
Not polling, I'm gonna use the wrong term, I'm sorry, it's late.
Roll call.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. All right, you just gotta request that. I don't always think it's an automatic. All right, so, okay. So
What are we having a roll call on?
Item D1.
What is it?
Ms. Carey, if you go to item, what is it? D1, it's the first one there. It is,
An increase in the number of days in a per diem contract.
yes. Okay. Is there a motion to approve board action items except for number 1, except for D1? Presented to the
So
board.
moved.
So moved.
All
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Now is there a motion to approve the board action item D1 presented to the board for approval? And Ivy, can you poll us?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Okay.
All those in favor? Wait, Ivy, you're polling us.
Roll call.
Yeah, roll call.
Yes,
Sorry.
but I had to wait until you moved and seconded
Yes.
before I could pull the board. On board action item D1, Mr. Warner,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Pineda,
Yes.
Ms. Mears,
No.
Ms. Carey,
Abstain.
Dr. Dragic,
Yes.
Ms. Darden Cintron.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right, thank you. Now we are up to the annual reorg meeting. We was able to get the I guess people's availability. So I believe, Ivy, it's set for July 6th, and that's the date that it will take place, on July 6th.
And
Okay.
so now,
Yeah.
can I ask that we have, so there's two things I want to ask here. Can I ask that we have our meeting in person on July 6th, number one? And then number two, I know that we normally invite the newly elected board trustees to the meeting beforehand, which I believe is the June 22nd meeting. We invite them into the board meeting as well as into the executive session, which I understand we have the right to invite anybody into exec session. I believe we invite them into our last exec session of the year so that they can be up to date with the information going into the first reorg meeting in July. So I'm going to ask, can we do that? As well as can we have that meeting in person, which is June 22nd, I believe? Oops. Antoinette, are you there? I think she stepped away from the camera. But Carol, your hand is up. Do you want to talk?
Yeah.
And I see Ashley's hand up too, sorry.
And I had the wrong hand initially. I finally found where you're all getting the hands from.
I don't know if Ashley, you want to talk before Carol, because Carol may give us some additional information. What do you think? Do you want to?
I was just gonna mention what our practice has been in the past, as far as I recall, but that might answer something that Carol may be thinking of. But Carol could go first if you guys want. I'm fine either way.
Ashley, go ahead with what you got.
So what I was gonna say is along the lines of what Trustee Maris was mentioning. I do recall when we've had new board members join. We do have them join the last meeting. They do join exec session under the guise of they are non-voting members. They are just basically there in an auditing and listening fashion, just trying to get a lay of the land. And that's how we avoid the whole quorum and all the other stuff that comes along those lines. That's what I was going to add.
Thank you, Ashley. Carol?
So I just wanted to point out that, of course, you would want to welcome the new board members to the general public board meeting. I caution you about having them in executive session because they have not taken the oath of office yet. They are not entitled to protection by public officers law, as you all are. And so if they're in an executive session, they are vulnerable to anything that they may hear or say without any protection from the district. So I understand that sometimes it's a practice, but in their interest, in those new members coming in their interest, I don't recommend it.
Okay, so do we need to make a decision tonight, Antoinette, on whether or not we're going to, so there's two things I asked for. I asked for the meetings to be held in public, in person, that's the July 6th and the June 22nd. And then I also asked for them to come to the meeting and exec session as we've always done. I did, I think all of everybody here did, but now our attorney's cautioning us. So do we need to decide those two things?
So, number one, let's tackle, inviting, new board members into executive session. So, David, you're ready to go.
Okay, so I think more communication is better. I think we need to caution the board members if you want to caution the people before, come at your own risk. And if they want to come, then we let them come. I think that the benefit from communication and understanding what's going on before you become a voting member is worth it. I am concerned about the swap over to in-person meetings prior to the July reorg meeting.
Wait, David, let's stick with one.
Okay, so I said what I have to say about that one.
All right, at exec. All right, so David, Tracy, you both are yeses. Terry.
Carol, I'm sorry to have you repeat, but what was your advisement again?
So when you become a board member and you take the oath of office and you're sworn in and your term starts, you're protected under public officers law. And that means that to the extent that anything were to occur in executive session, anyone says or does anything in particular, once you are protected by public officers law, then those rules apply and you would receive a defense and indemnification for anything that may occur. If you come in as a unsworn member before your term, then you are there without any protection of the law. And when we do invite folks into executive session, it's typically to report on a particular issue or item, and they may speak on that issue or item, and then they are not present.
Right. So it sounds to me like you're saying this is not a good idea.
Correct.
Okay, I'm a no.
You're muted, Antoinette.
Sorry, Ashley.
Carol, other than asking them to leave exec session, I'm going to presume you're going to tell me there's no way around this, right? To offer them that protection. It's not like the board can choose to offer them that protection. That's just the way the law is written, and that's what it is, right?
Correct. Until they are actually sworn in and take their oath of office, until their term starts, they have no protections of public officers law.
And if they don't speak at all during that executive session, does that somehow minimize their liability?
It could, but it could. But they may also be called into, if they're hearing information, they could be called to participate in a litigation, be a witness to what they're hearing. It's just best to wait.
Okay. Thank you for that, Carol. With that, I'll have to change what I have as the best practice of what we've done in the past, and I'll have to say no in that case. I don't want to put anybody in peril.
Okay, Tanya.
Tanya went to Bermuda.
Miss Carrie, what's your thought?
I'm here.
Okay, she's back.
I'm
Tanya?
back. Yes.
All right, Miss Carrie.
No.
All right. 3, 4. The ayes, or yeah, the yeses have it. I say no. I'm sorry. Let me stop. 1, 2.
3 to 3, and then you have to vote.
Yeah, no, it's not 3-3. It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 to 2, and mine was no.
Okay, what about in-person session? Can we have in-person as our
That's
last?
next.
Wait, I thought it was 3 to 4.
Oh my God.
No,
Was it Tanya Dragic a yes or no?
she was a yes.
And
One,
Tracy was a
3
yes.
yeses.
I
I'm
was
sorry.
no.
Okay, so it's 3-4. Still a no.
It was Tracy, David, Tanya.
It's still a no.
I'm sorry, still no. Yeah, my apologies. Listen, it's late.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but yes. Okay, Tracy, that's the next one. Virtual meeting for the reorg.
Virtual?
Yes?
No. I want in person.
In person. I apologize. In person. Yes?
Yes, for me. I ain't gonna be there, so yes.
Yes. In person.
Okay, so Tracy, yes, in person. Miss Carrie, yes, in person. I'm sorry, who's next? Terry. Terry? Okay, Ashley.
No.
Okay, Terry, did you hear the question?
I did. It's moot for me. So I abstain.
Me too. Are you abstaining? Okay. Did I get Tanya?
I'm sorry. Is the question in person or virtual?
In person for the reorg.
I would like in person, please.
David.
In person.
Can I clarify, Antoinette? If anybody's not comfortable, they can attend virtually though, with posted address, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. The majority has it. So if you want to be in person, you can be in person. If not, you just will have to have your, wherever your location is. Try to pick a Starbucks or something and have it if you want to. But all right, so we're done with that one. Anything else? Okay, Tracy, you got another one?
Yeah, I wanted clarification on the ECP building. Earlier in the evening, I heard Ms. Raymond say that the work was going to start in June. So do we have a targeted finish date? I don't know if David, you know this from facilities or something.
I know. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let the administrator do it.
Raymond?
No, that's fine. My update today was that we are really rolling ahead, and let's see, the boilers are being upgraded. We already have that in progress, and today Mike and I finalized the window replacement. So we are rolling with everything to get everything up and running for September.
So the only reason why I ask is I know ECP does the August something they do in that building. So I just want to make sure the building's going to be set and open. You know, they're doing the summer school in Highview.
Well, the
Yeah.
summer school is not going to be done there.
I know it's at Highview, but I mean, there's gonna, right now, the administrative positions are at the library in Highview. Are they staying there until September, or like, what are we doing with all that?
Yep, everything I'm assuming is going to stay there till September, because Mike and company are working, we are working really hard to get that up and running for September 1 or whatever the date is, but the summer school is going to stay at Highview or RJB, so.
Okay, and then the second question about facilities was how we're securing our football field area. I sent several emails about safety and security with our property and the noise that people are hearing at High Point specifically.
Yep, so I spoke to Mike about that, and he spoke to the police department, who did a little investigation. And unless a resident lets us know when the motorbikes, ATVs, whatever are on the property, we can't, or they can't really do anything about it.
Who does the resident?
Mike was over at LF Jackson, and he saw some ATVs, motorbikes, whatever, reported that to the police, and they are investigating it and they're watching it to make sure, you know, the drag racing or whatever's happening on the field stops.
And who in the public, who is the public has to contact us? Who is the us? Is there a number that we are giving to people if they notify a board member or anybody and says, hey, they're there right now? Who are we asking them to call?
Well, we are asking any public, any board member or whatever to call the police, because if they call us, it's too late.
Okay,
So they
so when
need to
the
call
public, what happens is when the public calls the police say, this is a private property school district. So as a board member, do you want me to tell the police our board member can go on the property? I don't want to do that. So is there somebody, we're missing something. So the public tries to call the police say, oh no, we can't go there. So who should the public be informing at the
I
moment?
would say it would be the I would say it would be Mike Falcone.
So okay, I'm just need somebody to figure out how to make this happen. So are the public calling Mike Falcone? Okay, I see Dr. Reynolds here.
Dr. Reynolds?
I'm sure, Ms. Raymond, I hope you don't mind. If I may make a recommendation, allow us to work with the police department, put together a menu of who should be called. We'll put that into a board packet or into an email to the board, and we'll also share that with the public as soon as we're able to. So this way we don't put anybody's information out unnecessarily.
Thanks.
Thank you. Terry, I believe you had something.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, is there any other new business? Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm not gonna ask the other part. Thank you guys. Have a good night. It is 11:45. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night,
everybody.